Hi everyone, today we've got the wonderful Yuri Leitch with us. Yuri, please introduce yourself and tell us how you were drawn to Avalon.
Hello, I'm Yuri Leitch, of course. I first saw Glastonbury tour in a book about King Arthur when I was about 14 years old, and that in the book was a little black and white photograph of the tour, and it just drew me. I was drawn to it, and years later, when I was about 19, I managed to hitchhike here with no understanding other than I just needed to see the tour. And Glastonbury tour has remained a powerful influence on my psyche throughout my life from 14 years old onwards. And I finally moved here to live in 2001, and I lived here for 18 years until about 2019, and I spent a lot of my time meeting people and learning legends and history and doing artwork relating to Glastonbury and its many periods of history. And even having moved away in 2019, I continue to write books about Glastonbury. I've written a Glastonbury book every year since then, and my latest book is over 700 pages about Gwyn ap Neath, the lord of the otherworld, Celtic otherworld, inner world, known as Annwn, which in Arthurian stories becomes Avalon, but is the dreamland, the other world. Yes.
How do you experience and express your spiritual path day to day?
I guess these days I'm a quester. I've always been a quester, and in my younger years, from about 1990 onwards, I was involved in something called psychic questing, which is taking people out of a seance room into the landscape and going to a stone circle or a castle or some old building, and maybe half a dozen of you tuning in psychically and picking up impressions about that place. And that would lead on to many unusual adventures, and there are books about psychic questing adventures out there now. But simplistically, from being very young, maybe sort of 20 years old, it was a way of interacting with landscape and the spirits of the land. And when you do that for many years, the whole history of the land that you're interacting with becomes a big part of you. So whether it's Bronze Age or Iron Age Celts or Roman Celtic times or King Arthur's Dark Age times or medieval times or Elizabethan times, the land and the spirits of the land are huge, and that has driven most of my artwork and still continues to do so. Nowadays, I'm more content in myself to spend my time working with nature. I work with the Ogham, which is a system of 20 trees. Each tree represents a time of the year. Right now we're in the days of Yule, coming into winter solstice, and then in the new year we'll be going into the birch tree time. And each tree has its own folklore and cultural stories. So by working with tree lore, you're also holding what could be called druidic or bardic mystery lore stories, and I feed off that, and it nourishes me greatly. All of the gods and goddesses of the Celtic culture that we have inherited from the past.
Yuri, when we say the word goddess or the divine feminine, what does it mean to you? What do you...
It means everything to me, of course. For many, many years I've been aware of my own, what would you call inner spirit or anima or guardian angel. And I'm fortunate to know my guardian angel. And so the divine feminine is driving me every day. She's the carrot dangling in front of the donkey, you know. So there's a wonderful idea that we all have a secret lover, and whatever your secret lover is an archetypal personification of your own god or goddess. Now that drives everyone on their spiritual quest, or it drives a musician to write music, or an artist to paint, or a poet to write poetry, all reaching out for that one thing that draws you ever onwards, you know, and gives you comfort when you have fleeting moments of being with it, you know. And for me, I find her presence strong in many of the old Celtic stories. From my psychic questing background, Ellen has been a big part of my psyche since 1988, 1989, and she was the first that I became aware of, but equally my brain can swim off to Morrigan or Bridie or Nematona, and in more recent years understanding the actual archaeology of what was going on. So goddesses like Rosmerta were present. She was the great provider or queen of the heavens. And in the Western magical tradition, under Isis, all goddesses are Isis, or all goddesses are the expression of the one feminine. And for the Brythonic Celts, that was Rosmerta or Nematona. And then these pre-Christian goddesses find their way into Arthurian romances. So many of the ladies in the Arthurian stories are actually just echoes of older goddesses. So Christianity tried hard to erase, but they survived in stories, albeit slightly changed. So that fascinates me, and the rest of my life is very much about investigating that and shining light on that, and bringing it forward through artwork and books.
I love your artwork and your books so much, and we're so excited that you're part of the conference this year.
I'm looking forward to it.
And on behalf of everyone that watches this, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today. This has been really lovely. It's been nice to get to know you, and we'll see you at the conference.
Thank you very much.